going on, everybody? Welcome back to another vlog. I hope everyone is doing great. I'd first like to apologize about yesterday's video. I ended up editing and uploading a video and I left out the most important clip until some people started commenting and asking where's that part of the video, and to my surprise, out of all the clips that I could leave out of that video, it just had to be that one. I actually was surprised by the result of that video and it was really fun. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as far as future projects go here on this channel, I do plan on doing a larger project here in this upcoming week, but for the rest of this week and for the weekend, I think I actually want to make a few modifications for the table saw sled that I made. In the comments, you guys were so wonderful and you left some wonderful feedback about how I could improve that table saw sled, and I was honestly surprised at how much I could actually add to it in order to improve it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is make a brand new fence for it. I'm going to take off this old one and put a new one on that is actually going to be built up. It's going to be stronger, it's going to be more accurate, and it's just going to be a better, accurate saw. There were a few of you down in the comments who were actually referring to a video where William Ng actually built a table saw sled, and I went over and watched that. I'm actually familiar with a lot of his stuff. I've seen a bunch of the furniture that he's done. He's an awesome guy. He does really great instructional videos. I've learned a lot from him, and this video wasn't one I've actually seen before. I actually found out about him from Mark Spagnuolo, the Wood Whisperer, and I started, going down the rabbit hole of amazing woodworkers. So I ended up watching that video and I learned a lot about the table saw sled, how accurate it can actually be, and not really, shooting in the dark and hoping for it to be 90 degrees. And I'm just going to make a brand new fence for this. But in order to do the future project that I want to do here in this next week, I also need to do some practice. And for today's video, what I'd like to do is actually practice some wood joinery, specifically a Drawbored Mortise and Tenon. I have made several projects where I use a Mortise and Tenon, but I haven't ever actually done a Drawbored Mortise and Tenon, and I'd like to give that a shot today because in the future project this next week, I plan on using that joint. I thought it'd be appropriate to wear my Samurai Carpenter t-shirt. Awesome guy, Jesse the Samurai. I greatly appreciate the stuff you put out here on YouTube. It is nothing but inspirational, and I thought today, because we're going to be practicing some classic woodworking joinery, I thought this would be appropriate. So with all that being said, let's get into some practice. So because this is a Drawbored Mortise and Tenon, I'm going to need a dowel, and I don't have any oak dowels here in the shop, surprisingly, but I do have a lathe and I do have some oak. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is make up a quick dowel. It only needs to be maybe a couple inches or so because I'm going to then cut it down. When I do this project here next week, I will probably get a dowel for that, but for this, I'm just going to turn on the lathe. I'll get in some turning practice, and gentlemen, here is our dowel. Focus. Come on, there you go. So, this is a little dowel, maybe 1.5 inches long, 1/2 inch thick, so it will fit with a normal 1/2 inch drill bit. I'll probably use a Forstner bit so it's nice and clean. And you saw earlier I did the layout for the mortise. So I'm gonna chop that mortise really quick right now, and then I'll walk you through the process of how to do the tenon and the drilling so that then it seeds together and becomes a drawbored mortise and tenon. The great thing about today and in doing this practice is that then hopefully once I actually do this in an actual project next week, the process should go a lot quicker. Woodworker's biggest nightmare. So I ended up cracking that piece because, well, I was trying to take off a little bit more than I could chew, and I ended up splitting off the sides. So what I'm going to do, and what I will do in the future with the other mortises that I will do on the project next week, is I'm going to drill out all of the majority of the waste. The good thing about this is, like I said, it is practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mill up another piece really quick. I'll drill out the holes, or before that I'll lay out the mortise, I'll drill out the holes, and we'll catch up back here. This fit together, you can see here that I planned ahead of time for the bump out right here. We could just 45 these edges right here. Make a mark, and then what I'll do is I'll push it back a little bit, and that is because then once I put these two together and I drive the dowel in, those two holes will force to line up, and it should be a really tight joint. So I'm excited to see how this turns out. There we have it, guys. This joint right here was extremely fun to make. It was so satisfying. Just seated that joint nice and tight together. The one thing I did run into was I ended up blowing out this part right here. I could do one of two things. I could either move the hole over just a little bit less, or I could chamfer the dowel a little bit more in order to actually get it to go in a little bit smoother and not tear out the end. I can actually do both, technically. On the project next week, I will probably end up doing that, and this was a great learning experience. I would highly recommend to any of you guys who are avid woodworkers to get out and not necessarily build a project, but just practice. That's all about today. That was all about this little doohickey thing right here, and it was a whole lot of fun. It is about 7 o'clock. I'm gonna go in, eat dinner, edit this video, and it should be very fun tomorrow. I'm looking forward to getting ahead on the project where I'm going to actually be applying this joint. I'm not going to say what it is yet. So that is basically going to be it for this one, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed this vlog. I'd love to have your feedback down in the comments on how I can improve these videos for you guys and how I could make stuff like this more interesting. I plan on upgrading a lot of my video and lighting and audio stuff here in the near future. That stuff just takes time, and that's all I have to say for that. But I would greatly appreciate it if you took the time to go down in the comments and give me some feedback. I love feedback. I love constructive criticism from all of you guys. That's basically all I have for this one, and I will see you guys tomorrow.